Oh, wonders of the world, so many wonders to behold, so many questions in my mind, so many questions, so little time. Answers don't so easily come unless you know to ask someone who is a master of the trade. Ask them how clouds get their shape. Welcome to What the Heck Is That with David Shai Ventura. Hello and welcome back to another episode of What the Heck Is That. Today's guest is someone who has a very long list of musicians and other well-known people he's worked with. Scott Mauro has worked as a producer in music and television for a long time. He has owned his own company in production as well. There is also an artist that he has worked with that I can't wait to ask him about. Everyone, welcome Scott.
Hi, David. Hi, everybody.
Here we go. Scott, you have done so much. How do you describe your job to people?
That's a very good question. Well, I started in the business doing marketing, so I would take care of advertising all over the country and all over Europe and Australia for Broadway shows, movies, and famous concert artists. And then I became a producer, which means I create shows for television, for Broadway, and for live events.
Is there anything you do not do?
Yeah, I'm not very good at electricity and plumbing, but yeah, when you are a producer, you are in charge of the entire production. So you have to, you have to know about lighting, you have to know about scripts, you have to know about personnel, you have to know about sound, so and scenery. So, it really is part of the job is being a jack of all trades.
That's amazing. I would love to hear what led you to opening a production company.
Well, I was fortunate and probably unique in that I knew what I wanted to do with my life at 9 years old. So for me, it was a pretty clear path. I was working at Walt Disney Studios producing their TV specials for NBC, and I got a phone call from the performer Cher, her office, saying she was going to go back on tour for the first time without Sonny. Um, and it was when she had "If I Could Turn Back Time," the song. So I was offered 15 months of work to executive produce the tour, oversee the tour, which was then going to be shot as a TV special when on the final night. So that motivated me and gave me a cushion to open my own production company. And I think that was back in '93, give or take.
That all sounds like amazing work.
Thank you.
I see that you have worked with a lot of famous people who has been the most fun to work with.
That question could get me in trouble, David. Every each artist I've worked with has been fun in their own special way. So the artists that I got closest to, I would say would be Joan Rivers and Liza Minnelli. But in terms of fun, I think they're all fun. That's part of the reason I do it.
Maybe you can add my name to that list someday.
I'm ready. Ready when you are.
Can you tell people what exactly and producers does?
Yes, well, it depends whether it's TV or Broadway or a live event, but essentially you put together the show. So you hire the creative team, You approve the lighting design and the set design, and you come up with the concept for the show, and you bring in your technical team, and you hire the actors, whether it be an award show or whether it be a musical on Broadway or a TV special. You are the captain of the ship, and if it's a great success, you're a hero, and if it fails, you're the you get the blame.
That sounds like a lot of work. I had no idea.
David, you're right about that. A lot of people see the glamour in it because of like an opening night or the red carpet before the event and all the photographers, but it takes weeks and weeks and weeks from very dedicated, talented people to make something like that happen.
What does a day at your job look like?
Well, what I like about my job is that every day is different. So some days you're on the phone with the writer, setting up the script, or some days you're working on what the show will be, whether there'll be a dance number or a film clip or a speech by a celebrity or a musical number. Um, and then sometimes you're just doing, working with the set designer on modifying the sketches that have been submitted.
That means that you have many jobs. I bet you never get bored.
That's true. That is absolutely true because every day is the same, but every day is different. Um, Especially when you're working with talent, because depending on the star, they'll have different requests, different needs, and you just have to sort of be flexible.
I am a big Frank Sinatra's fan. What was it like working with him?
I worked with Frank Sinatra for about 18 years until he retired. And I started when I was young, and he used to call me kid, no matter what it was, kid. Uh, I worked a lot with his manager and his publicist, and anytime I worked with him directly, he was a total professional and no nonsense and very, very dedicated as an artist.
I am so jealous. I am such a big fan.
Well, then it's like really fun when you're backstage with him and he's at the piano still vocalizing so that he warms up his voice. And then there were times when you do a photo shoot and he wants to get it done. He wanted to get it done quick, but then I need a few more things. And he'd say, all right, give the kid what he wants. But looking back, it took a lot of guts for me to to ask him to stay and give me some more time, but I wasn't confrontational. But when I look back, I said, boy, that kid had guts. I have many Frank Sinatra stories, but a couple that I want to share was when Frank turned 75. That was his Diamond Jubilee. And there was a big show at the Meadowlands, and that's where he was born. So we ran ads in the paper that said, "Welcome home, oh Blue Eyes." And it was it was electric. We did two shows, probably 35,000 people total. And I have to say, he was pretty nervous, excited and nervous. And he was also Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet, his friends, and also very popular singers were on the show as well. And what I did was I had giant birthday cards at in strategic places around New York City so that fans could come and sign a greeting. And we had them at Grand Central, at Madison Square Garden, in Times Square. And then at the end of the show, when we brought out the birthday cake, we brought all these giant birthday cards on stage. And I also had a radio station you could participating, so you could call in, David, to the radio station and leave a message for Frank. And then we gave all those messages on an audio tape for him to take home and listen to. So that was really, it was cool. And we really had, we kind of we owned New York for that day, because he really was such an icon in New York and New Jersey. And he was so popular that he would play Carnegie Hall every year and sell out every year. So, and each year he would have a different opening act, but either it was June or September, depending on his schedule. And he just loved playing New York. He loved playing Carnegie Hall, and it was just wonderful to be at Carnegie Hall and to hear him with a big, big orchestra. Um, Interesting is that all his charts and his musical arrangements were, I believe, donated to the Smithsonian or the Library of Congress. And a copy was also given to his good friend, Steve Lawrence, who was singing the American Songbook just like Frank did. So those wonderful arrangements that we all know will be preserved forever.
What is the hardest part about your job?
That's a good question, David. People, again, as I said before, people see the glamour. I think the hardest part of the job, and throughout anyone's career in show business, is being able to take rejection and just move on. So, when you're pitching a new idea or you're pitching a new show, whether it be for television or Broadway or even an award show, you sometimes get 20 no's before you get a yes. It's the same thing with working with talent. You go out there, their schedules are, pretty busy. And, you have, sometimes it takes you reaching out to 30 different actors or actresses or musicians and performers before you get one yes. But somehow magically it all comes together, which is really the beauty of it. And every time you start up, it's a challenge.
I get it. I have to do all of that for my show too.
That's true. That's very true. Any production, it's pretty much the same skill set.
Are you working a lot more now that COVID is relaxing some?
Uh, Honestly, about the same, because during COVID, my business shut down at the beginning, and then I produced a lot of award shows and concerts for the internet. So I did virtual events, and now I'm doing a combination of virtual events and live events in person. And of course, Broadway shows are reopening after Labor Day. So that'll be great for my shows.
I hope you are able to get back fully soon. The people need live music.
Yes, so far, plans are set for September, and we're keeping our fingers crossed. And I know that everybody is really anxious to not only get back to work, but also to get into a theater or to a ballroom or just to congregate together and enjoy, like you said, music and movies.
You worked with Disney for many years. What did that work include?
Well, my work with Disney started out where I created TV spots for their movies and trailers for the movie theaters on their movies, and sometimes print advertising for their movies. And then I was able to, even a TV special, now that I think of it, that was on PBS to promote one of their movies. And then they hired me out of New York to come to California to be in charge of all the NBC specials that were shot either at Disney World or Disneyland or whatever around the country. And then on top of that, when I did a big TV special that wasn't Disney related, I I shot that at a club at Walt Disney World, so that I really never severed my ties in a funny way.
Sounds like the happiest job on earth. Thank you.
the best question that I get asked all the time is, how do you get to be a producer in the entertainment business? Because it's so difficult, and it's not something people easily wrap their heads around. You know, for me, as I said, I was inspired by the movie Mary Poppins and the magic of Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke singing and performing against a cartoon background. Um, and that's what gave me my dream. And I knew at that moment, seeing the movie back in New York. And what really is wonderful about the business is that I have gotten to work with some of my idols, um, whether it be Frank Sinatra or Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke, and then Liza Minnelli and Kobe Bryant. Um, and when I look back on it, I just, I'm very grateful. And I'm really lucky to have worked with, the most talented and biggest names in our business. And, I keep this year, especially during COVID, I still kept my business alive and hired people and gave them the opportunities to continue working. And I think I'm a good example of, I didn't have any connections in the business. I started as an assistant, and little by little, you work your way up. And when you look back, sometimes you say, how did I get to the top of the mountain? Because you're so focused on the climb up the mountain. And I always like to say, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And whatever your dream and your passion is, don't give up on that. And and stick to it and believe in yourself, because a lot of times when you're in the struggle, you start to doubt and question. But again, I like to try to inspire people to go for their dreams. And your dream could be to be a veterinarian, it could be to be a movie star, it could be an accountant, or it could be a producer, director, or writer. Go for it. So when for Diana Ross's 75th birthday, which was in 2019, I went to her. I was working with her for many years. I worked with her on the Central Park concert, which was on Showtime. And I said, 75 years is your Diamond Jubilee. And here's what I did for Frank Sinatra. I would love to work with you and celebrate your 75th birthday. So it was actually a year-long celebration. She had a special issue at Ebony magazine. We did screenings of the Central Park concert on Fandango. So it was in movie theaters across the country. And then the night of her birthday, there was this giant party in Hollywood with Beyonce and Jay-Z and her daughter, Tracy Ellis Ross, all her kids, her grandchildren, Bette Midler, Leonardo DiCaprio, Howie Mandel. It was fantastic. And, there was a great sense of satisfaction, and she was very, very appreciative. And then the concert was at the Palladium, and I think it was at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And, people like Robin Thicke and Babyface joined her on stage for a song. And then afterwards, she still had the energy and wanted to do a party. So after the concert was over, I guess it was 12, maybe 12:30. Everybody went back to the party, and I still had fans at the theater taking pictures of themselves in front of her posters, and till 1:45, until 1:45 in the morning. That's how dedicated her fans were, waiting to take pictures in front of the official Diamond Jubilee poster. One of the closest relationships I had and still enjoy is with Liza Minnelli. Of course, Liza, I started with Liza after Cabaret, and she was on tour with Joel Grey. So because they were both in the movie and they both won Academy Awards, it was really very special. And it was unbelievable that was like my first assignment for her. And then I worked with her for about 18 years and still keep in touch. And she loved show business, and I love show business. So is an instant creative success story. So, I mean, we did things like I renamed 6th Avenue Liza Minnelli Way when she opened at Radio City. And then we did this beautiful party at the Rainbow Room, which was so evocative of the 40s. And for her birthday party, it was like a star-studded thing when she turned 45. And one of the fun things was uh, for Radio City, she sings a song called Sara Lee, based on Sara Lee banana cake. And it's a very funny song. And it was written by Kander and Ebb, who wrote Cabaret and Chicago, Funny Lady, a lot of songs. They wrote New York for her. So I came up with this idea that we would do a surprise party and have a lot of media come on the day when she was rehearsing for the Radio City show. So Sara Lee flew in a baker from Chicago. The Waldorf Astoria gave us their kitchen to use, and they made this giant banana cake that said "Happy Birthday, Liza," and then did a logo of Radio City and Liza. And then I had four Rockettes all dressed up, who wheeled in the cake, surprised her at the rehearsal studio. I remember it like it was yesterday. And then you know, I mean, the media went crazy. It was on every news program. It was in every newspaper. And then when everybody left, just before she went back to rehearsing, someone started playing the song "Tomorrow" from Annie, and she actually sang to me to thank me. But I think it was "The Sun Will Come Out," Scott Mauro, bet your bottom dollar there'll be that Scott Mauro, there'll be sun, something like that. And it was really very sweet and very touching, and I really appreciated it because because she came from a show business family, she really enjoyed, you know, the album signings and enjoyed her fans and appreciated her team. When my son was born, she sent the biggest basket of plants and a blue teddy bear that we still have. We've been there for each other through ups and downs. And I always felt that she was the greatest living performer that I ever worked with, in terms of all around singing and dancing and acting, which made her unique, made her really, and a lot of fun, and very dedicated to the artistic side. Once we did a show that she spent a fortune on this dress and the number wasn't working, and she just cut it. She just said, "I don't care what we spent on orchestrations, what we spent on the dress." And she was right. It just wasn't working. We cut the number. Not a lot of people would do that. So you know how the celebrities sometimes get a bad rap, but I have to tell you, I've not really had too many bad experiences. Most of them have been really incredible. And one that really sticks out is when I worked with Katy Perry. She came to one of my events as a guest, and I hit it off with her security guard. So we started, he said, "You want to take a picture with her?" As you know, because I was all in my tux and all. And she was just a spectator at the event that I was producing and directing. So when I met her, I said, "Well, my son is at Emerson College in Boston, and he'll think I'm really cool if I have a picture with you." And she said, "Well, I think you're pretty cool already." And she took this picture. The next year, she came to the event and performed for a half hour to close the show. And during sound check, as I was walking around the venue checking on the sound quality, she said, "Hey, how's your son doing at Emerson?" She actually not only remembered me, but remembered the conversation that we had a year prior. And it just goes to show you that how warm, and I just thought that was a wonderful moment. And I still, you know, I still think so highly of her, not only for her talent, but her humanity. And then Katy Perry was honored by UNICEF at a show that I was producing, and she came with Orlando Bloom. And I surprised her, and it was the year of the presidential, I believe it was the year of the presidential election, and Hillary Clinton came and presented the award, and it was top secret. She didn't know. And oh my God, she burst into tears. And when Hillary came on, I used Sarah Bareilles' song "Roar," and the audience went crazy. Hillary came on in a yellow dress, which just, you know, stood out and just sparkled under the lights. And the funny thing was during the dinner prior to the awards, Orlando Bloom, who's now, as you know, married and the father of Katy's kid, their parents, Orlando Bloom spilled water on his tuck shirt. So he came into the production office, and my associate producer had the thrill of a lifetime because he took off his shirt and and she had to iron his shirt behind closed doors. And she still talks about that moment of seeing Orlando Bloom, shirtless. And that's a thing about production. You never know what's going to happen.
Once,
You
Scott,
just never know.
I could listen to you tell you stories all day. I am so happy to know that I am, in a small way, a part of this musicals community that is so much bigger than me. Thank you so much, and let me know when you are hiring.
You got it, David. Thank you for having me. It really was a privilege to be with you, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
I hope everyone enjoyed this guest, and if you have any suggestions for another talent guest who work in the music industry, leave it in the comments. Thank you all for watching What the Heck is That, and we will be back soon. What the heck is that? Wonders, oh wonders of the world, so many wonders to behold, so many questions in my mind, so many questions, so little time, answers don't so easily come, unless you know to ask someone who is a master of the trade. Ask them how clouds get their shape. Welcome to What the Heck is That with David Shai Ventura.